Welcome back to the Crypto Saving Expert News Show, where we tell you about the latest cryptocurrency news so that you can stay up to date with what exactly is going on within the market. I can see some people already waiting in the chat, so thank you for holding on for just a minute. My camera's still playing up. I need to work that out over the Christmas time. This is the last live stream before Christmas. I hope everybody has a good one. Before we start today's video, I've pulled up the cryptosavingexpert.com website. Please don't forget to go over to there and click sign up so that you can get our newsletter every single Tuesday at 11 a.m. And I do a little paragraph in this Christmas episode that for next week on Boxing Day, I believe. Anyway, let's take a look at the Bitcoin price. So first, we are at $16,860 for Bitcoin, and for Ethereum, we're at $1,220. And again, we've had no movement in the 24-hour change. We've not seen these above one in the live streams all week. I don't think it's been shocking. We've just seen no movement whatsoever. On the 1 hour chart here, we still don't have any indication of where we're going, really. We spoke about in yesterday's live stream that all of the indicators are just hitting neutral, and we need to see a reaction to one way or the other, but there's just no indication of where we are going to go right now. Over the Christmas time, the volumes have dropped off, and we're just in this sluggish straight line movement. I do believe we are going to have a volatile move, but we just have no indication of where that's going to be. So every single day still through the Christmas holidays, we're going to be doing these live streams Monday to Friday, so make sure to check in to see any updates we have about which direction we are going to head to for Bitcoin. But let's take a look at the news now. Let me quickly check the chat, see everything's okay. Hi from Portugal. Hello, Pedro. I hope everybody can hear me okay. I've had a few issues with my microphone as well, but let me know in the live chat if there is any problems. I've done it again. I've not even put the chart up on the screen, have I? Now, this would be a lot clearer for you. Now you can understand what I'm talking about. Hi from Lithuania. Thanks, Evan. This is the charts we're discussing today. You can see we've had no real movement on the indicators on all time frames. They're all showing pretty much neutral. The RSI not really oversold, not really overbought. The MACD not really bullish momentum, not really bearish momentum, just flickering around that baseline. So we haven't really seen much movement. Now let's move on to the news anyway and see what's going on. Now that you can see the screen, you might have a clue what I'm talking about. First, we are looking at the US SEC labels FTX token FTT as a security. Now this is interesting. So I don't know how much people know about this. Whether a cryptocurrency is a security or a commodity is a huge issue for the space, and there's been lots of legal battles about this. XRP has been in a legal battle for over a year now, trying to claim that they are not a security, because if you're a security, you fall under securities laws, and that means the SEC can target you with a lot of different things that you need to abide by. So it's much better for the cryptocurrency space if it can fall as a commodity. The SEC has classified FTT, which is the token of the FTX centralized platform, as a security. So let's take a look at this. They stated since its launch in 2019, FTT was offered and sold as an investment contract, which makes the token a security. Now, the thing that makes this so complicated is the difference between a security and a commodity. They need to do something called a Howey test to determine whether it's one or the other. And the test is pretty... The line is pretty blurry. I think if you wanted something to be a security, you could kind of find a way to fit it in. If you wanted it to be a commodity, because cryptos fall so far into the middle, it's very hard to determine where they fall. And that is why the Coinbase CEO in a news article earlier this week wanted the SEC and the US government to determine what the top 100 cryptocurrencies are, so that we have this understanding of how to classify them, because at the moment it's just bizarre. No one really knows. And the XRP argument saying they're not security in this whole lawsuit will actually set a good pace for what's going to happen for the future of cryptocurrency. And that's why it's so important, not just for XRP to win this battle, but for the whole industry. But anyway, let's carry on with this article. That was a bit of a tangent. The securities watchdog claims that if demand for trading on the FTX platform increased, demand for the FTT token could increase, such that any price increase in FTT would benefit holders of FTT equally and in direct proportion of their FTT holdings. The commission added that the large distribution of FTT to FTX incentivized the exchange's management to take steps to enhance users' engagement on its trading platform, which consequently increased demand for and increased the trading price of FTT. According to the SEC, FTX used the pooled proceeds from the token sales to fund the exchange's development, marketing, business operations, and growth, while highlighting FTT as an investment with profits potential. The regulator stated that the FTT white paper classified that FTX's core management team's efforts would drive the growth and ultimate success of FTX. FTT investors had a reasonable expectation of profiting from FTX's efforts to deploy investor funds to create a use for FTT and bring demand and value to their common enterprise. So now, since this has happened, there's a few more articles within today's video that we cover over this. Ellison and Wang pleaded guilty yesterday to fraud charges, but we'll come back to Sam Bankman-Fried later on in today's video because we've had some huge news come out overnight. Let's first talk about Elon Musk's Twitter has added Bitcoin and Ethereum price charts to its search function. Now, this is a really useful search function. If we take a look at this, I'm not sure if we have this inside the article. So when you search Bitcoin on Twitter, in fact, we can do it right now. We can take a look. If you search on Twitter, BTC, I believe I've not even tested this myself yet, so fingers crossed this works. If we search BTC, or do we have to do the full Bitcoin? What comes up? We'll have a test. No, not BTC. Bitcoin. Is it going to work? No. Let's read over the article first. I think we need to have the dollar sign in front. No. Right, okay. I need to work that out before I come on the live stream in future, and then we'd have less of an issue. We'll check it. Let's read through the article and we'll find out how to actually do it. Elon Musk's Twitter has announced the release of a new feature that allows its users to track the price of major stock, ETFs, or cryptocurrencies through the search function. The team at Twitter added the new feature is accessible by simply placing a dollar sign in front of the asset being queried and pressing enter. They explained when you tweet the symbol of a major stock, ETF, or cryptocurrency with a dollar sign in front, it's like BTC. Let's give it one more crack. It might just not be released in my jurisdiction just yet. Now, I think it's because of the area I'm in, but we'll try again in a couple of weeks and see how that goes. People on Twitter see a clickable link that takes them to search results. Starting today, these search results will include the pricing graphs for major symbols. In addition, users can access the charts by searching the symbols directly without clicking on a link within a tweet. Most major symbols, such as QQQ, can be searched without the dollar sign. So that's pretty cool, and we can just search that straight away. See here how it works there. That looks really good. I will actually find that pretty useful to use. Moving on. Oh, Evan said BTC works for me. I don't know why it's not working for me. Anyway, it's not that important. We can carry on the stream. Taking a look at the next article. Before we do, don't forget to drop some questions in the live chat so that we can answer those at the end of today's video. Before we move on. Moving on to the next one, Bitcoin could turn bullish once the US government passes its $1.7 trillion spending bill. The United States Senate is on the cusp of approving a $1.7 trillion spending bill, which has been delayed by weeks due to several policy disagreements on critical aspects such as immigration and levels of funding. The breakthrough came on Thursday after a deal was made on possible amendments allowing Congress to beat the Friday deadline for the bill, which will fund government programs until September the 30th, 2023. The bill includes $45 billion in emergency funding for Ukraine and NATO allies. There is also $772 billion for non-defense programs and $858 billion in defense funding. However, the 4,155-page document has met stiff opposition in and out of Washington, D.C. For example, Representative Dan Bishop of the 9th District of North Carolina tweeted that the bill was too long to be passed as fast as it was. He also pointed out that some of the planned spending on the bill might be questionable, including the $65 million set aside for the recovery of Pacific salmon populations. And Elon Musk did another poll. He keeps going with his polls. Should Congress approve the $1.7 trillion omnibus spending bill? And 71% of 3 million people said no. Isn't that bizarre that only 3 million people voted on this, but 10 million voted on whether he should step down as Twitter? But people are seeing this as a bullish sign in cryptocurrency. So if they turn on the money printer again and print this $1.7 trillion, we're looking at a huge amount of inflation there. And we've seen the BitMEX founder Arthur Hayes say, I don't know if $15,900 was this cycle's bottom, but I do have confidence that it was due to the cessation of forced selling brought on by a credit contraction. I don't know when or if the US Federal Reserve will start printing money again. However, I believe the US Treasury market will become dysfunctional at some point in 2023 due to the Fed's tightening monetary policies. And at that point, I expect the Fed will turn the printer back on, and then boom, shakalaka, Bitcoin and all other risk assets will spike higher. So when we see a huge amount of money being printed, that's when people realize that we need stable assets like gold or other commodities or cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. And that is when people turn to these sort of assets. And that is when we have a better argument to stand on. When we see these things happen, we can say, see, this doesn't happen with Bitcoin. There's only ever going to be 21 million. And that is such an important, what's the word? I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Printing soon, boom, shakalaka, said Jerome. Money printer go brr, indeed. Zulquanian said, I don't know, sorry, I must have pronounced your name wrong. It will make more fun on Twitter. Yeah, Twitter will be really good with that extra feature if I can get it to work. Evan said try it on my phone. I'll have to give it a go after today's live stream. And then if it works, we can look at it on Monday. But moving on to the next article here. Let's check Bitcoin's price to see what's happening over there. Nothing. I don't know why I expected something to happen, to be fair. We haven't seen much, so I don't know why I thought it would happen then. Hamzak said, good work. Thank you very much. Let's move on to the next article now. We have Brazil approves Bitcoin and Ether for payments and investments. Moving down here, let's see. The bill recognizes Bitcoin and other digital assets as payment methods and investment vehicles, but does not make them legal tender in the country. A digital representative of value that can be negotiated or transferred electronically and used for payments or as an investment, the bill stated. According to the new law, crypto assets that are considered securities will be overseen by the country's Securities and Exchange Commission. In contrast, assets used as payments are expected to be supervised by a to-be-determined regulator. So far, the regulators that are more involved in the crypto sector are the country's central bank and the securities watchdog. So this is really positive. We're seeing adoption within Brazil. The law also makes provisions for crimes and fraud involving digital assets, which carry a jail term of between 4 and 8 years plus financial penalties. The bill also requires digital asset providers to only operate in the country with prior authorization from a federal public administration body or entity. Also, the legislation requires these providers to have physical entities with jail terms and fines for those that violate the rules. The new law will take effect 180 days after it was signed on Thursday this week, so yesterday. So this is driving adoption in Brazil, and it's the largest economy in Latin America and one of the most active markets globally for crypto adoption. And according to KuCoin, 16% of Brazil's population, so 34.5 million nationals, are considered crypto investors. That is a huge percentage when you actually think about it. Let's take a look now at the next articles. We're going to do one Binance article before we move on. And we have had a huge amount of big news stories today. This was a huge news story to read this morning. Binance says it does not need to disclose its financials since it's a private company. And it's including that its financial details are a black box. Users' assets on Binance are backed at a 1-to-1 ratio. To begin with, Binance disclosed the recent suspension of USDC withdrawals, stating the platform usually needs to convert BUSD to USDC first to large withdrawals of the stablecoin. The conversion usually takes longer since it goes through a US bank account, and that only operates during traditional hours. So, recapping what's happened recently, Binance tried to be more transparent after the FTX collapse, and they tried to create this proof of reserves with Mazars' auditor. So Mazars were auditing them, checking everything ran smoothly. The conclusion of that audit was that Binance was backed 101%. So they had one token for every token you deposit in there. If you withdraw a huge amount of money, Binance would still be stable. And that was what the audit clarified. However, Since then, Mazars has decided they're not working with cryptocurrency companies anymore. Whether because they're a traditional company, usually it just was too much risk and they decided to step down after they'd audited Binance, Crypto.com, and KuCoin, or for any other matter, Binance got a huge amount of backlash for this, and a lot of people accused Binance and its internal workings of being the reason they decided to step down, and people saw that as a red flag for Binance specifically rather than all three cryptocurrency exchanges. However, now after this, we've seen that Binance is saying they don't need to be transparent because they are a private company. I disagree with this. I would like to see more transparency within the space. We didn't have transparency with FTX, and this is where we've come to. And we are in cryptocurrency for transparency. However, if you want some transparency, centralized exchanges aren't what you need. If you want transparency, go to the blockchain, and that is where you can see where your tokens have traveled to and from, and that is where you're going to get the transparency. So I understand Binance maybe don't want a lot of backlash. They don't want to be the center of the attention, trying to prove to people that they are a functioning company in the correct way when they don't have to. Maybe they were just getting in the limelight too much. They were getting too much backlash. They just wanted to say, it's not our responsibility to be more transparent. If you don't believe us, that's fine. Maybe that is the approach they're going to go for. But let's take a look at this. Users' assets on Binance are backed at a 1-to-1 ratio. We knew that. Crypto audits are a very new field. Regarding the recent audit by Mazars and its decision to halt all services to crypto exchanges, Binance explained that the on-chain verification of the overall reserves of encrypted companies is a very new field. Therefore, they are actively communicating with other companies willing to provide verification services for encrypting companies. Fourthly, Binance pointed out that the verifying all digital assets it supports will be carried out in due time, but for now, the majors such as Bitcoin will be the first steps. Fifthly, the most popular crypto exchange debunked reports that its financial details are a black box by stating that it's a private company and only listed companies need to disclose such sensitive information. The team added that they provided Binance's financials in every jurisdiction they operate in as part of regulatory procedures. So they followed the regulations, and now people are asking for more, and they're saying, we will be more transparent, but we need to find an auditor that will work with us. Moving on to the next part of this article concerning reports that Binance and CZ were the subject of investigations by the US Department of Justice, the team at the exchange stated that such reports have become common and happen several times a year. However, they could not comment due to jurisdictional reasons, as is the case with any legal investigations. Now, I did actually see a tweet about this. I'm not sure how true it was, but the articles that were coming out on some of the news sources, the popular cryptocurrency news sources, were basically just a copy and paste of something that was reported 4 years ago. And yes, it's true that they may be looking into him, but they've been looking into him for quite a while now, and they were trying to create FUD within the market, and that is why you need a news source that you can trust and that isn't going to spread FUD and is just going to report honestly. And that is why we're making Crypto Saving Expert. To be completely honest, we have the best news sources that you could ask for. The news writers are brilliant, and we provide you with the latest cryptocurrency news as soon as it happens. So if you want to check that out and you haven't already, make sure to check out our Twitter and our Instagram. I will put something on the page now so that you can see. We've got the website link at the bottom, and this is the @ for Twitter, Crypto Saving Exp, and we post the latest news over on there, and we also have it on Instagram as well, Crypto Saving Expert. So make sure to check those out. And soon we will be returning to TikTok. We did a couple of TikToks a while back, but soon we will be on there every single day as well. So we're coming back to all the socials in January when the site goes live in Q1 of 2023. It's going to be brilliant. Honestly, it's a really good site, and we're coming to the end of development. We're doing a lot of user testing at the moment just to make sure that it is how we like it before we release it to all of you. But anyway, let's take a look back at the next articles. We have Sam Bankman-Fried released on record $250 million bail amid fraud charges. So after making his first court appearance in New York to face fraud charges, he was released on bail. Bankman-Fried was released on a bail package that includes a $250 million personal recognizance bond secured by his parents' house in California. I was about to say today, I've not stumbled over my words much today, but I just did, so we've lost that one. As part of the terms, Sam Bankman-Fried must reside with his parents and submit to electronic monitoring while awaiting his next court appearance. I've joked it. Furthermore, the former FTX FTX CEO must wear a monitoring bracelet, undergo mental health counseling, and restrict his movements to the North District of Carolina. U.S. Magistrate Judge Gabriel Gorenstein said that the risk of the FTX founder fleeing was slim and that he presented no danger to the public in terms of future financial crimes. SBF, who was once estimated to be worth over $25 billion, has been charged with organizing a years-long fraud that stole billions of dollars from FTX customers. The former FTX CEO allegedly spent the funds on luxury properties and high-risk investments through the exchange's trading firm Alameda Research. The fraud charges include securities fraud and money laundering. Now, it's just bizarre that he was worth $25 billion, was seen as the god of cryptocurrency. He'd done this amazing arbitrage trade and raised so much money to be able to create so much money from the opportunities he saw in front of him. And then in the last couple of months, in the last 6 months, his reputation has just been completely torn apart. It's so crazy how it can flip so quickly. But FTX's collapse prompts calls for regulatory clarity and accountability in the crypto industry. In media interviews following the exchange's bankruptcy filing in November, SBF claimed that the company's failure was caused by mismanagement and not intentional fraud. However, two of his closest associates, Caroline Ellison and former CEO of Alameda Research, Gary Wang, the former CTO of FTX, has pleaded guilty to fraud and to other charges, including wire fraud and conspiracy to commit commodities fraud. SBF's next court hearing is January the 3rd, and he was extradited to the United States after being arrested in the Bahamas earlier this month. January the 3rd, what date is that? I think we might be doing a live stream on that day, and that would be pretty good. Let's take a look. January the 3rd is a Tuesday, so we'll be live streaming that news as it happens on that day. So if you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe and press the bell notification button so that you can get notified every time we post another video. Moving on to the final article. FTX's 2020 Blockfolio takeover bid was funded 94% by FTX's exchange token FTT. And FTX used its token to pay $84 million in 2022 for a majority stake in BlockFi. The recent bankrupt FTX crypto exchange used its own token. And according to Bloomberg, which cited financial statements it obtained of the collapsed exchange, FTX paid an estimated $84 million and 94% of the purchase deal, thus valuing the Blockfolio company at $160 million because they bought a 52% stake in it. The agreement also included the option for FTX to buy out the rest of the company within 2 years. So they did have plans to continue going like this, with these fraudulent things happening internally, obviously, but it's not quite worked out. Details of the purchase, which was amongst the most significant acquisitions at the time, remained unknown until FTX's bankruptcy proceedings warranted further scrutiny into SBF's financial activity at the company's helm. At the time of the acquisition, many media outlets reported that FTX had financed the deal using a mix of cash, crypto, and equity without providing additional details. The report added that Sam Bankman-Fried seemed to have an early hunger to amass customers fast, using large-scale deals such as the Blockfolio one. In addition, FTX had only been founded a year earlier, and the acquisition was seen as a sign of big things for FTX. The FTT was constituted a large chunk of Alameda's bank sheet. We've already discussed this. It was put on Alameda's bank sheet to try and cut out any losses. But that also went bankrupt on the 11th of November due to liquidity issues. But that is the end of today's news. I'm wondering why this isn't working. We'll find the end of why we can't get Bitcoin on the Twitter for me. But we'll check back in on Bitcoin's price. We're at $16,850 for Bitcoin and $1,222 for Ethereum. Also, let's take a look at the Binance chart before we go. We're at 246 now. I spoke about this a couple of days ago. There was so much FUD going on. I thought it was a good buying opportunity, but let's see how that's played out. Not bad. So in the last week, we've seen a much lower lows than we are right now. We dipped down to $221 and now we're back up at $246. So that's quite a nice move upwards. Given that Bitcoin hasn't moved at all, it's not that bad. Once the FUD was over, it was pretty good chance to accumulate some more, in my opinion. But that is all for today. Please make sure to like and subscribe and head over to Crypto Saving Expert and throw your email into that box. We're putting I've been uploading some videos onto the site in the last couple of weeks, so you'll see my face over on there as well. And that is all for today. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you, not tomorrow because it's Friday today. See you at on Monday. No, not Yes, on Monday at 11 a.m. and we'll continue these through the Christmas holidays. Thank you very much for watching.